I want you to picture this. It's World War II. Much of the U.S.'s workforce has been called to serve. Farmers throughout the country fear their crops will rot without the hands to harvest them, and the nation needs a solution. Enter the Bracero Program, in which millions of Mexican men sustained the U.S. agricultural industry and railroads during that very war. By the program's end in 1964, about 5 million Mexican men legally worked in the U.S. on short-term labor contracts. The 22-year program, which was a bilateral agreement between the U.S. and Mexico, has been the largest guest worker program in U.S. history. One of the many men who participated was Ángel Guzmán Domínguez, who left Bracero, Tabasco, Mexico in 1944 to take part in the program. He was working on both the railroad and agriculture across 4 different states and sent these 2 postcards back home to his family in Mexico. One was sent from Washington, D.C., and he wrote, "Como un recuerdo para mis queridos padres, su hijo que les quiere." Another to his sister Maria Dolores, who he called Lolita. It depicts an image of the Empire State Building. Lolita, este es el edificio más grande del mundo. Consérvalo como recuerdo de mi estancia en New York. These postcards are now part of the collection of the National Museum of American History and represent just how widespread the journeys of the Bracero workers were. But being a Bracero came with challenging conditions. Before being allowed into the country, workers were often stripped naked and sprayed with a now banned insecticide while being inspected at the border. According to the Bracero History Archive, the sprayings, along with intrusive medical inspections, were the most dehumanizing experiences for many of the Braceros. Families in Mexico also bore the human cost of their absence.
Many single men, married men, men with families, men with wives, were separated for long periods of time. As a result, some of the farms in Mexico lay dormant.
If the program sounds vaguely familiar, it's because it ultimately paved the way for the modern-day H-2A Temporary Agricultural Workers Program. But, like the Braceros of the past, today's workers still face numerous labor rights violations. A 2021 federal investigation called Operation Blooming Onion revealed that H-2A workers on Georgia's onion farms faced wage theft, physical abuse, and were illegally transported. The U.S. attorney overseeing the investigation called it modern-day slavery. The legacy of the Bracero program lives on in the workers who still sustain the U.S. agricultural industry, and it continues to raise important discussions about labor rights and immigration policy 83 years after the program first began.